Hello, everyone. I'm Ajima, and this is my world. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the top 6 things family members taught me, and I didn't listen. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start from number 6, and I'm going to work my way down. And the first 3 were actually told to me by my mom. Okay, number 6. Do not do the cooking in your household. Yes, my mom did say that. And don't hate, ladies. Do not hate. Do not send me no hate. And I'll tell you why she said this. It was like the first week I was married, I started cooking. I was living at my mother's house. Because as I said before, I was saving for a house and we lived with my mother for a year. And I was doing the cooking. Okay. Now I was the one that was actually going to college full time. Then I was training in martial arts after school, and then I was working late at night. And my wife had dropped out of college, so and I was the one who always got up early, so I was started making breakfast and stuff. And after a couple of days, my mother noticed it, and she was like, "Son, what are you doing? Why are you getting up and cooking for her? Don't start anything like that, because once you get something started." It's gonna be hard for you to stop. She's always gonna be looking for you to do this. And I'm like, yeah, mom, don't worry about it, mom. And so that Saturday, when I was getting up, you know, and so I nudged my wife and I said, like, hey, honey, why don't you get up and make breakfast for us? And she says, why don't you make breakfast? You know how to make breakfast. I want to sleep. And I was like, whoa, no, she didn't just say that to me. No, she didn't just say that to me. Now you know I was pissed. Yeah, I definitely was pissed because she had the nerve to say that when she wasn't working and she wasn't in school. She was just around the house with my mom, and sometimes she went to go spend time with her mother. Number 5, do not live anywhere near your in-laws. And let me explain that. And that's some very good advice. I always remember my mother saying that because when my mother and father got married, they got married like in the teenage years, like I don't know, 18, 17, 18. And my father's sister was like always in their business. She was like always causing drama, always running back and telling my father stuff, just causing a lot of problems in the marriage. So my mother and father grew up in South Carolina, so they ended up to avoid all this drama from the family. They moved to I think really to Baltimore first, and the drama was still following them. And then they moved to New York. And his family really didn't want anything to do with the East, so they wasn't really going up to New York. So everything kind of calmed down. My mother was happy, and they had less problems. But then they ended up in Boston for some reason, because my grandmother was in Boston, had moved to Boston, and so that's when the drama all started. Is when they ended up moving up east, and sister-in-law didn't see anything, couldn't talk anymore, and things were fine afterwards. And number 4, the fourth one that my mother told me: do not let your woman insult you or make you look bad. Say anything bad about you. What did she mean about that? I remember I had this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girlfriend, and she had said something in front of my mother. She was like, "Oh yeah, he's crazy. He be saying all this crazy stuff." And for some reason, right? And then my mom looked at me, and then she pulled me aside. And she said, "Son, always like be respectful, and pull your lady to the side and say, babe, don't talk like that. All right, don't disrespect me. Especially in front of other people. Don't. I'm not gonna put up with that. Okay." And just let her know in a nice way. So I respect my mom for saying that because you don't want your lady just having the habit of just coming out and saying whatever she wants, because once she starts that, she's gonna get used to doing it, and it's gonna happen more often and stuff. So don't let that happen. Now, the last three were like advices that my tips that my one brother, my oldest brother gave me. And my oldest brother was like, he was like good with the women. He was like amazing till this day. A lot of guys that I grew up with always talk about my brother and talk about my cousin because they both were like they just had all the women. They were just good with women. They was like they were legends in their own time. So whenever I run into guys from my projects, they're always like, "Yeah, I remember your brother, this and that. I remember we used to have all these women. I remember this kind of cuts." I just hear all kinds of stories. Okay, so number three, do not walk around with your nose wide open for a woman. I'll never forget my brother saying because I remember I was with my nephew and I remember seeing this bad chick and she was bent over and this was like in Roxbury, and she had bent over, and she was bucket closing up her daughter's jacket or something. And she had this beautiful figure, and I just pulled over and I started talking to her, and I was like, "Yo, let's get together and go out." She was like, "I don't know, I don't really know you," and I was like, "Yeah, we can get to know each other." So she goes, "Okay, well, won't you meet me at this club in Brockton?" And at the time, I was probably like 19 or so, 20, and she must have been like 23. So she's telling me like, "Yeah, meet me at this club in Brockton." Yeah. So my nose was wide open. I went into my brother was like, "Yeah, man, my car's not acting up. Can I borrow your car? I got this day." And my brother was like, "Oh man, you running around with your nose wide open. Don't run around with your nose all wide. Don't let that happen to you." And I was like, I was just glad to get his car. I just completely ignored him. Number two, another really, really good tip that he gave me was what he said to me. He said, "Bro, man, you do not need to get married to show that you're in love with a woman. Okay, so you do not need to get married because you're in love with a woman." And I wish I had listened to that advice because he had heard me talking about getting married, and he bro, never thought about getting married. And for a long time, I never said I was going to get married. I was going to be a playboy like him, but I did it, and I should have listened to him because he was right. And number one, this is really important, guys. So please listen to it, especially you young guys in your 20s, because when I was in my 20s, I thought I knew it all. Okay, and I'm sure like a lot of you 20-year-olds, and even you 30-year-olds still think you know it all. You gotta start listening to us OGs and stuff, because we've been there and done that. So number one, do not, I'm gonna repeat this, do not put your woman on a pedestal. You heard me, right? Do not put her on a pedestal. Because when you put her up on that pedestal, what do you think she's gonna do? She's gonna look down on you. She's gonna look down on you because you got her so high up on this pedestal. She's got nothing else to do but to look down on you, and then she's gonna be looking for better. She's gonna be looking for to find somebody better because you put her so high on the pedestal. She's gonna be saying, "Well, shoot, what am I doing with you then?" So please remember all six of these. Okay, guys. So I hope I help you out with these. These are some really good advice that my family members gave to me. I just wanted to share them with you. So just remember all these tips that I gave you today. They're really important. Okay, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, just do not forget these tips. And guys, thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Please comment, like, share, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you have some advice or tips that you want to give me, please feel free to send it to me. Okay, I appreciate you. Take care. Peace. James World.